Let them know.
My wife
What are
still
you
won't
gonna
let me
do?
go.
You know, what are you gonna do to, you can't be everywhere in every place, so you do have to assume some compliance, you know. It's about education.
All right, welcome everyone. It is 9:03 on April 14th, 2026. Please let the record reflect that in the conference room, we have Commissioners Jordan, Waldrop, and Kearns. We are joined online by Commissioner Brooks, who I believe will be in person very soon. And we're gonna kick things off here with Under Sheriff Kevin Ritchie, and you've got several items today, so I'll let you take it away.
All right, thanks, sir. Good morning. The first item I have is gonna be an acceptance of a sub award, kind of a grant from DOJ through the city of Seattle. And it's $10,000 for our electronic storage detection canine Hattie, and I think you guys have met Hattie. She's the one that detects the electronic devices. This is for training and recertification and travel to and miscellaneous supplies to fund the training or recertification of dog kennel. They just wanted me to let you know that for some reason that this doesn't, the subaward does not allow for indirect cost recovery, so that probably would cover like per diem and things like that. I think like there should be very minimal cost to this. I think the 10,000 will cover pretty much everything. Any questions on that one? We'd like to go after these for continued training and everything, so it doesn't, so having the dog doesn't increase cost too much. All right. The next is the fiscal year 26 Homeland Security Task Force Program FBI Award. And this is for $30,000 for TFO overtime for the FBI task force. And again, this is to accept the funds for that. The grant period is October 1st through 2025 through September 30th, 2026. And it funds overtime and stuff for the deputies working on, or the detectives working with the task force.
Remind me what task force it was. It's the reason.
It was formerly the Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force, but yes, it's the Raven, and it's the our detectives that do the drug intervention and the big drug cases through Raven. Yeah. They partner with the FBI and other agencies. The next item is the 2026 FIFA World Cup grant program, but this will be briefed at executive session later today. Correct. Yes. And so we'll go over that later. The next one is Edge Clip Scope, which was
Can I ask?
So
But we haven't gotten the grant
we have not
agreement yet,
the paperwork has not been, we haven't got through yet.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and so this will just be an update on what's coming with that if we actually get the grant. The next item is for Edge Cliff Scope. So the Edge Cliff Scope current building is owned by the county. It's a house, and it is in need of a lot of repair. And so we have looked for a different location for Scope for the Edge Cliff Scope office. Chris Conway has located an office space that meets the needs, and we're proposing accepting a new lease and moving to that location. It's it wasn't included in the packet. It's a 60-month term. It starts at $17.50 a month with a 3% escalation every year. Of note, so Department of Corrections actually shares the space with Scope, and they rent the space, and they give us $3,750 a month. So the amount of revenue that comes in from the rent actually offsets the cost of the building anyway. And then the county will also have a house that they can surplus or do whatever they want with. So we don't see this as much of a budget increase at all, even though it does show that we're now going to be paying a lease on an office that we were getting for free because the county owned the building. But a lot of the costs will be offset by the DOC contract anyway. And that money used to flow into Scope, but now those lease agreements will flow into the sheriff's office to cover the cost of those. the Scope North office is in a similar situation where we started renting a new building or new office space, but DOC also shares that, so they offset pretty much all the costs for that building. And then also there will be some yearly costs that we won't be responsible for anymore, like water, sewer, and backflow testing and things like that. So there will be some decrease in operating costs of the building as well.
I didn't see that. Was there something in the packet? Is it in there about this?
There's not.
Did we get like just a one pager about the total cost
Yeah, you did.
and then like the reduced cost to the county?
I was just told that it wasn't in there, so I didn't know. Well, on my briefing sheet, it has all the numbers, so I didn't know that they didn't. I'll have Elise send that over and get it in there.
So who owns, the county owns the house?
Yes.
So we'll have to decide what to do with that.
Much like the CD scope when we moved a few years ago, we moved out of there because the building was, we have to pay to maintain it. I think it needs a new roof, it needs a new water heater and some port work. And so it's a considerable cost. So to invest in the building would be more than just moving to a rental space where the cost is offset.
Commissioner Brooks?
Yes, so I literally just drove by the Scope House out here on Edgecliff, and it is not in great shape. It's a very old, small, tiny place that needs a lot of TLC. So I could see why it'd be just time to if we've got another space, that's gonna be better than trying to renovate this one.
In addition, the landlord or the management companies agreed to make a bunch of modifications to the building that are included in the lease price. So, and that's adding offices and building a kitchen and some other stuff. So they're making a lot of modifications to the space, so it fits our needs at really no additional cost. So it's pretty good deal.
And where's the location of the new leased space? Is it the same neighborhood?
It's the same neighborhood. It's within Edgecliff. The address is not in here. It's just funny. I can tell you where it is. It's the if you remember Forza on Sprague, the big Forza building where the gym was and everything. He retired, and so they're leasing all those different spaces out. So it's right there on just off of Sprague by the the auto dealers and everything right there in the kind of the heart of Edgecliff. And it's actually kind of beneficial to have it on a busier street with the signage and everything to get people coming in and walk-ins, because the Edgecliff station was there, kind of in the neighborhood right there on Thurman and 8th, I think, or 6th. And it's kind of, you don't know if it's a scope office or what it is, even though there's a little bit of signage out there. But we found that having storefront like in the mall and the one up north, and they get a lot more walk-in traffic and a lot more contact. That's all I have. And that agreement will be on the 28th agenda, I believe, lease agreement. Yes.
Okay,
That's it for me, I think, yeah.
so we'll see you back in a couple hours then.
We will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then public works.
Oh, okay. All right, our next presenters are with WSU Extension, and they'll be over shortly. But I think I saw Vicky earlier.
She was on the
Step
phone.
Oh.
We can go grab
No, well, I just, her item is scheduled for 15 minutes, so.
You want,
Is it-
Josh,
What's that?
Julie and I could do Ames really quick. if
Sure,
you want.
let's go for it.
Okay.
Just looking to see who's here and what's short on the list.
Okay.
All right.
I'll go grab them.
All right, so for those of you that don't remember, this is Julie. She is our parking and CRT supervisor. And she reports in through the HR office with our parking attendants. And so we're here today to chat about our, nope, wrong presentation, sorry. not workday quite yet, about our Ames contract. It was supposed to be at 10 o'clock. So we were slated, I believe. So Ames is the product. There should be a presentation. Ames is the product that we've been using for the last 5 years now, I want to say. That is the parking software that we use to manage our license plates and do our ticketing and all of the kind of back end of the ticketing process. We went through an RFP many years ago and selected the Ames software. And so we're just asking that we go ahead and continue that contract moving forward. So next slide, please, Ron. There we go. So really, I know that number looks large at 57,000 a year, but actually that's only a 4% increase. 5% increase from where we're at right now. So in the grand scheme of contracts and taking an increase, this is actually incredibly low for what we expect to see on contracts, and they're guaranteed to lock that contract price in for 5 additional years. So no escalator on that, which is huge for us. So we really do feel that that is still a good value for what we need it to be used for and for what we're seeing out in the community for other services, as well as having the locked in contract price for 5 years. Next slide, please. In order to continue our services with no issues, we really do need to continue to move forward with Ames as that parking management system. It creates no disruption for our employees. They've all gotten really good, and you guys as well, at putting in your license plates as people change vehicles or things like that. It's a really easy to use software. People have really picked it up and engaged with it, so we'd recommend continuing it. It does integrate directly with Park Mobile, which is the contract that we put in place just about 6 months ago, and Calais, which are the kiosks for the limited number of kiosks we still have on campus where people pay for parking. It really does align with our budget expectations. And then on top of that, it also aligns with the city of Spokane. They're also using this software. So it's great to have the same vendor between Park Mobile and between the Ames contracts. Next slide, please. Just for awareness, we had heard that some people had been asking about our parking numbers and our tickets. We, since moving to more ticketing in the afternoon, our extended hours, and using our public parking now, which is part of Ames and Park Mobile, we have seen a massive uptick in the number of citations. So in fact, after 4 p.m., we've seen 382 citations just in the month of February. Keep in mind, February is still dark early at night, still chilly. So we expect to continue to see those numbers grow as we head into summer season. Next slide, please. And then just another highlight on what we're seeing with utilizing Ames and Park Mobile for our public parking, no longer just our employee parking. In 2024, we issued a total number of citations of 2,239 annual. Just this October through February, we've already issued 1,824 citations. So you can see the value difference right there in numbers and in dollars by utilizing Park Mobile and Ames together. It really has afforded us the ability to be increasing the amount of people parking illegally, not paying for parking. And that money, again, like I mentioned before, this does not bring us even into the black. We're not making revenue on this yet, but we are at least doing our best to offset the cost of operating lots. Next slide, please. This is just a monthly snapshot that's in your packet, but it really does show you just for the month of February how many tickets, how many transactions we had each day. So it really does support the continued use of this program moving forward. Next slide, please. This also shows our net parking revenue. So we really can see, even just in 1 month, we had $13,010 of revenue versus last year's annual revenue of $11,994. So utilizing Ames for public parking as well as our new Park Mobile is really helping us to be able to better support our lot needs in the future. Next slide, please. And then last but not least, Ames has way more availability than what we've utilized so far for technology. We did recently learn that it integrates with Tyler Technology software, which is what our courts use. So Julie has been working with District Court, who is the group that we work with. They support us for all of our tickets, to figure out what can we do moving forward to better utilize the software. How can we potentially create additional options for citizens to pay tickets, whether it's online, rather than having to come down in person to the courthouse and pay tickets. By using AIMS, that opens up continued options for us to become more efficient for ourselves, but also for our citizens. Next slide, please. I think that might be it. Yeah, that's it. So we're just asking that you go ahead and pass through a resolution, the continuation of our contract for the next 5 years for AIMS, so that we can continue to support our county employee and citizen needs. Any questions?
Commissioner Jordan? Is this like the database behind the scenes?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, got it. I like the non-escalator.
Right? That's amazing. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, now we'll jump back up to item D. And I see we have Tammy Wilson online, and then we've got a group of folks that are in person here joining us. Then here we are.
Where would you like us? They might want to stand, and we've got one, okay, we've got one presenter on Zoom.
Okay, well, who would like to lead off?
I'm going to, I just would like to introduce myself. I am Jennifer Fees. I am a senior 4-H educator here in Spokane County. And every year I work with amazing teens. They are part of Yay 4-H Youth Advocates for Health, and they are teen teachers. They're trained as teens. They go into classrooms, into our local Spokane Public Schools, and reach over 600 youth a year in the After School Express program, teaching anything from nutrition to mental wellness and all kinds of other wonderful things. I'm going to turn it over to them. They just were one of 3 finalists at National Ignite by 4-H in Washington, D.C. They presented and were basically going for a $5,000 scholarship, and just very proud of them. They will take this project on to our teen conference in Pullman at WSU, and also this year they're also taking it to University of Idaho and their teen conference. So they're going national. All right.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Parker, and alongside me are Abby, Kaden, and Everett up on screen. We are Yay 4-H Youth Advocates for Health, obviously from Washington, and we're here because we believe young people don't have to wait to create change. We can create it now, which is very nice through 4-H. We noticed a problem, so next slide, that often there's, skipping meals during, just during your everyday process. I skip meals when I'm too busy. So we noticed that college students obviously do the same. So next slide. In Washington State, 44% of college students face food insecurity. And nationally, it's nearly 1 in 3. Food pantries, I believe it's the next slide, often report thousands of student visits each semester, and many students return multiple times per month. Food insecure students often have lower GPAs, higher stress levels, decreased concentration, and are up to 43% more likely to consider dropping out of college compared to their food secure peers. This need isn't occasional, it's ongoing. So when we realized that there was a need on college campuses, we knew we had to act because we believe small seeds can change into big impacts. Next slide. I believe it's one after it. Thank you.
And we took this idea literally. Our solution focuses on microgreens, tiny plants that grow in just 7 to 10 days and can contain up to 40 times more nutrition than their mature counterparts. Tiny plant, massive impact. Microgreens require no special equipment, minimal space, and minimal effort, which makes them perfect for dorms, small apartments, and busy student schedules. They're packed with vitamins E, C, K, and antioxidants that support energy, immune function, and overall health. And because it can be added to wraps, salads, eggs, noodles, smoothies, you name it, they upgrade everyday meals instantly. So we created microgreen growing kits and placed them directly into college food pantries, meeting students right where they need the highest. Each free kit includes everything they need to grow microgreens, plus simple instructions, basic recipes, and a feedback survey. Leaf It Up is a youth-led initiative that puts fresh, nutritious food directly into students' hands and helps them grow independence along the way.
What makes Leaf It Up truly powerful is that this wasn't created for teens, it was created and built entirely by teens. We researched materials, contacted suppliers, designed instructions, created recipes, and managed our budget and cut our costs down to just $1.94 per kit. Then at the 2025 Washington State 4-H Teen Conference, over 100 teens assembled 600 kits in just 90 minutes. And this year we're expanding to the University of Idaho State's Teen Conference. That's not just momentum, that's efficiency. And these kits matter. We delivered these kits just before the 2025 fall semester, directly supporting those facing these needs. This wasn't service for teens, this was leadership by teens.
And the best part, students are using the kits, they're harvesting their microgreens, trying new recipes, and feeling proud of growing something themselves. And that pride matters because nutrition impacts performance. Students who eat leafy greens have better cognitive function, improved memory, and higher energy, all important for academic success. Our surveys show that the kits are easy to use, inspire continued growing, build confidence, encourage creativity, and support better eating habits. Leaf It Up is about more than just food. It's about resilience, curiosity, growth, and sparking a new generation of campus growers who realize they have the power to take on challenges and grow solutions that matter.
Now imagine the impact when we can scale this project. We will be able to increase our kit production across Washington State, to expand our partnerships with more college food pantries, to strengthen our supply chain as the demand grows, to create a replication toolkit that will support nationwide expansion, and to improve our long-term impact measurements through better survey incentives. Right now, the demand from college campuses already exceeds our current capacity. We even have other states who want to launch Leaf It Up. Leaf It Up is growing from a successful pilot to a scalable, sustainable, statewide project with a real national potential.
Can you just catch up on the
Yeah,
slides?
yeah.
You move forward on the slides, please.
Try to keep up, Ron.
I'm sorry,
If you're
we,
presenting, just remind
yeah,
them.
we're not used to the next slide thing. Yeah, you can keep going. That's our approach. Yeah, that's, there, those are the colleges. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Leadership by teens, next slide. I'm so sorry. Next slide.
We're used to being the clicker.
I think one more and we're there. Okay, yes, Leaf It Up is no longer just an idea, it's an operating program with real partnerships, real demand, real outcomes, and now it's going nationwide. We have already proven we can design, build, manage, and evaluate our project. And we are taking it further, which is really exciting. We've proven that we're just a good team because we've done the work, we've evaluated and managed everything. But 4-H is the reason that we are able to do so. It's really given us the opportunity to take it nationwide, support of our mentors and our family and just the team in general. And it's been lovely. Next slide, please. We did, next slide, sorry, I forgot about that one. One more. So we are taking it nationwide. We had multiple states come up to us throughout the DC conference that have expressed interest, and we connected with their leaders and gave them replication toolkits, next slide, which are just simple little hard drives that have every step-by-step process of how we were able to make it statewide in our area. And it has like little email write-ups that they can just copy and paste, and it's super easy to use, so they can take it and make it up their own. Yeah, so that's what we've been doing and with the help of 4-H. Next slide, please. Thank you so much for your time. Are there any questions?
Commissioner Jordan?
Great presentation. Good job. Thanks for all your work. I think you said that there have been surveys provided. What are the surveys showing?
Yes, so the surveys are showing really good numbers that the students enjoy it, that they're having fun with it, that it is teaching them how to build microgreens or grow microgreens, sorry. And it's encouraging them to just keep growing more. They're having a lot of fun with it. So that's what we're seeing.
So Parker created a card that went in every kit, and it had 3 QR codes. It had instructions, it had the recipes, and then a survey.
Yes, and the recipes are really cool because they're accessible for like college dorms, so a lot of them have microwave recipes and it's easy.
So so you four were a part of this idea. Who produces the box? Where do you get the materials? Are they all sourced from Washington State?
That's a great question. So throughout reaching out, so we reached out to True Leaf Market. That is not necessarily based out of Washington, but they were able, because we bought in bulk, to cut our costs down a little bit, which was really, really nice. That's how we got it under $2 to produce the kits. And then we put it together at the conference. So putting them together was a 4-H event, and then we just ordered supplies.
How many times can you continuously harvest these? Like what's sort of the life cycle of these greens?
So each grow mat has about 2 life cycles, and there's 2 grow mats, so you get about 4 per box.
Thank you. You're getting me like motivated to eat more greens. So thank you for what you're doing. It's exciting that you got to go to DC.
Yeah, it was very fun.
Is it possible to have the team up by the screen and do a group photo, just so we have it for our,
Yes. I can do that. And then
Thank you.
I apologize, I was zooming in on my drive, so
do you have a question?
I just want to say thank you because we had gotten a presentation and I think Amber and I had.
I think I got a little kid.
Yes.
Okay, yeah,
And actually done my kids and it works great.
Oh,
So, I
fabulous.
think
Thank
I
you
think
for
it's a
sharing
great
that.
Way to, I think get that. for
Tammy
sure.
brought it to you.
I tried to get my now 15-year-old I thought she'd be interested. I got to bring it back out again. I got her excited. It's spring.
Tell your 15-year-old
It's spring.
that I'm always hunting for new
Okay.
teachers.
Okay.
It really is worth it. It helped prepare me for going out to the workforce. I'm no longer a teen, but I did teaching, and it really,
She's been with me since
I
she
am-
was a freshman.
yeah, I am now getting a full-time job as a teacher this summer at a preschool. So it really helped prepare me for that.
Yeah, 4-H is really pushing the Beyond Ready and preparing our teens for career readiness is overarching goal.
Well, let's come up and let's get a picture.
Sorry. And do check out their t-shirts, the teens designed the t-shirts. Pretty cool.
You guys in the middle.
Yeah, could I have you take one of me with me to do it? Yeah, I would love that. Thank you. Should I sit on you? Anybody else want in the photo? Get the coffee break out of the way.
Our guy on Zoom.
Okay.
This is a nice camera. Gina first.
Okay, Gina first.
Gina first.
Now me. Okay. One more. Beautiful. Thank you.
Good job, you guys.
Good job.
Thank you. Way to go. Pleasure to meet you. Good luck teaching.
Yeah. Thank you, Everett.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
No
Gaffney,
problem,
and Tammy
Jennifer.
Wilson,
Thank you
and-
so much, county commissioners. Thank you so much for
You
having
guys
us.
ever collaborate with the Chase Youth Commission? Cause I know they regularly, each year,
They do.
student hunger seems to be one of their initiatives that they kind
Yeah.
of focus on. So I mean, might be something you can
Yeah.
present this to them. I mean,
And then
have,
go for the Chase Youth Award.
so.
There you go. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ricky Dalton.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in our packet.
Get your mic right here. No, that's-
It's Jackson, yeah.
Doesn't look like there's anything in the packet on this one, or did something get sent after?
Look at
Oh,
text
email,
money.
okay.
Yeah.
This is too close talking, actually.
It's wraps and stuff, even like on the.
What recipes have you
Yeah.
got in your leafy greens, Mary?
It's kind of been put them on things.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was kind of a good way to.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. She said, his recipe, even ones that you can do in the microwave.
I wanted to follow up on that.
That's all any of us cooked with and.
Green, my.
She
was.
she left.
She,
Yeah.
well, I'm doing the presentation, so do you want me to kick that off and then? Okay.
Sure.
All right. The next slide, please, Ron. So we are here today to talk about Workday and Guidehouse and just give you an update on how things are going and a request moving forward. So just historically, as a reminder, we selected Workday as our ERP vendor on April 27th, 2023, which feels like light years ago. When I went back and looked at the resolution. So we've been making that transition from PeopleSoft to Workday since April of 2023. In partnership with that same resolution, we also partnered with Guidehouse Inc. as our third-party administrator and services contractor. And at that point in time, the Board of County Commissioners awarded $8 million for the project. And just as a reminder, there are almost no contingency dollars in that. And so in July of 2025, our team came back to you and asked for additional funding, including some additional dollars. I give a spot right here for you. Some additional dollars specifically tied to our go live that we pushed out for HR and payroll. If you remember, we were originally supposed to go live with that in June of 2025, but we did determine that we needed to extend that timeline, and we did go live in December of 2025. And so you did award us additional funding to help for that increase of expenses with Guidehouse to extend their support services. Next slide, please. This is a very high overview of our current Castle budget or the Workday project budget. And just so you can see where we have spent monies and where we will continue to spend money. So we have to date paid the paid 6.26 million out of the 6.89 for the Guidehouse implementation. So we're about 91% of the way spent and we're expected to be on budget. We've actually saved some money on travel. So we did not have Guidehouse come on site with us very much. We used it pretty sparsely to try and save some of those $100,000 for contingency. And so we've actually paid to date about $25,000. I think that number, we have $7,000 remaining coming in. So we should come far under budget for travel, which is helpful. And then Teller integration was another thing that we implemented, and we have paid that at 100% right now. For the delivery assurance training, we had projected a $2.24 million. To date, we paid 2.2, so we still have about 21,000 available. And then our Workday subscriptions are coming on target as we expected, and we just paid our last one out of ARP funds. So as of right now, we are still a little bit underspent from where we expected to be. We have right around, I think, $140,000 in contingency, essentially still at this point. Next slide, please. So as we've been working through HR payroll, so as a reminder, finance went live, fins, in January of 2025. So they've got about a year and 3.5 months under their belt now. What we are finding with payroll is we are still in HR, we're still working through some of the details, which is really consistent when you roll out new software. Nothing ever goes perfectly the first time. You expect to have some bumps in the road, and we're working through those. So right now we are 3.5 months post HCM payroll implementation. We're still working through our payroll issues with our payroll stabilization team that we've put together. And you guys see those updates coming out every Friday to your inbox. All of our resources at this point have really been dedicated to support payroll, with limited work occurring on compensation, HRIS benefits, and leave. So we're trying to work through those as they come up, but really it's been all hands on deck to ensure that we are getting payroll to where everyone is comfortable with in our timekeeping, all of those areas. We definitely know that payroll is going to need continued support for the coming months. As we keep working through the issues. The issues are getting less and less, which is super exciting. That stabilization team sees less things every week, but we do still have needs that are coming up as we're working between leaves and timekeeping and different codes. We do know that we're going to need continued support. And then same thing with HR benefits and leave. We may need additional limited support in the coming months as well, tying out to payroll and just for that first year, which is pretty standard. Next slide, please. So we are requesting some additional support moving through the rest of this year for 2 different options that we are requesting your support on. So the first, and it's, I guess I would say 2 solutions, not options. So we're asking for these 2 solutions. The first solution is to continue to partner with Guidehouse for optimization and innovation. We are asking for another amendment of the contract, looking a bit different than what it has in the past. We would like to continue to work with our kind of centralized point of contact, Guidehouse, and work through these HCM payroll opportunities in the coming months, but rather than having it be a continued full-time support, we would recommend moving to a bank of hours. It's what other counties have done as well. So we reached out to other Washington counties, other entities that have been through this, and what we consistently heard, and even from Guidehouse, is rather than continuing daily full-time support, they recommended that we move toward a bank of hours so they can continue to work with us on a supported capacity. But our team would still be doing a lot of that work as well so that we can better learn our software as we continue to use it, which is just normal when it comes again to new software. So we would like to continue to partner with Guidehouse as they help us continue with integrations, as they help us continue with earnings codes, leave codes, all of those things that support us and teach our team how to manage this moving forward. Finance had a bit of this. The Guidehouse has been very wonderful to work with, honestly. They have provided resources when maybe even they didn't need to on the fin side for the last year. And so this would enable us to have some of that same support on the HCM payroll side for this year as well. Next slide, please. Oh, yes.
Does the Guidehouse support that we currently get, does it run out at a certain point in time?
End of this month. Yes, so it's coming. And so that's why we're here. We need a bit more runway. And so what we have put together with Guidehouse and what we're recommending is to continue to have a bank of hours to draw from. They would support us with leadership and strategic oversight. We would be working with their post-production team. So a group that specializes in after a solution has gone live, being able to continue to use it forward. A really huge win that I actually just learned last week is the gal that's been helping us with payroll, Marianne. She actually moved from implementation to the post-production team, her own lead. I think he just learned that as well and was a little shocked. So it's great for us that we would be able to continue to utilize that resource.
She actually fired one of her other colleagues.
Yeah.
In order to make the transition.
Yeah, so super good for us. And so for this solution request, it's about it's 130,000. We likely do have that, and we think we'll have that within our existing budget, but we're still discussing it today just to make sure you are aware that we do and would like to intend to use monies up to 130,000 for this solution. In addition to that, next slide, please, Ron. We also recognize that we're at a place where we need to start better supporting the fin side. So what I just spoke about was specific to HCM payroll, but we are a year plus post go live for fins, and there are projects and optimizations that we likely can be doing, but we really do need continued support. So in an effort to look at, again, what other counties are doing, reached out to our counterparts and said, what did you find to be successful when you really got your sea legs under you, so to speak? And they recommended Workday Success Plans. Workday Success Plans is a model where we would get to work with Workday with a solution team, and would be provided a number of issues each week that we could call on and receive support. Additionally, we would be able to launch optimization projects. So through our governance committee, which is a group of us at the county that meet, we would determine what optimization projects do we need to do now that we've had the software. Where are we lagging? Where do we maybe see issues, and where do we want Workday to come in, look at what we've done, and then provide a solution on how we can be more efficient moving forward. Next slide, please. This is really small, I'm sorry. So basically what this talks about is the Accelerate plan. There are two different options. There's Accelerate and Accelerate Plus. Our governance team really does believe that Accelerate is the way for us to go. It is the lower tier, so to speak, but it really just means that we have a few less support cases each week and a few less options. But again, when we spoke to other counties, I think it was King County, had done the Accelerate Plus and quickly learned they didn't need Plus and they wanted to move back to Accelerate. In the event we feel we need to move to Plus, we would come back and chat with you guys about that. You can always move up, it's harder to move down, right? So we thought that it would be best to start with kind of that lower level tier, get the support we still need, start getting fins and adaptive and all of those programs that we've had success in, but know we have additional opportunity in a partner in Workday and move that forward. Next slide, please. Workday succession plan pricing is up here. So our recommendation would be a 5-year contract. We believe that in the next 5 years, we will be able to work through a lot of those optimization projects. And by that point, likely have a team. There's also training hours that is supported through the Accelerate plan. So likely have a team that has much more experience doing the work themselves. With Guidehouse, they were wonderful, but they did a lot of the build, a lot of the work for us. And so through WSP, we'll be able to continue that knowledge transition training, and they will help us. So we feel at about the end of 5 years, we likely will be able to keep it self-sustainable moving forward with our resources here, which is why we're recommending the 5-year plan. As you can see here, we're also recommending an additional tenant. What I mean by that is basically right now we have, it's called Sandbox. It's a tenant that you can go test things in, you can go reprogram business processes, all of that, so that before you ever do anything in your live production environment, you've had an opportunity to test it and make sure it works. The thing with Sandbox though is it refreshes every Friday. So we have no control over that refresh. And so it is a rapid race to try and build, test, and make sure things work correctly before it gets wiped out every Friday. So when we spoke with other counties and other customers, again, they recommended purchasing an additional tenant so that we can run longer projects and really take the time to, especially for some of these large changes that we're looking at making, have the appropriate time to build something out, test it, and have it ready for production rather than having to rebuild every week to continue testing. And so our ask is to purchase the WSP Accelerate in addition to the Guidehouse additional bucket of hours, and to utilize the additional tenant as well moving forward. This would really enable us to continue not only providing stabilization support for HR, HCM, and payroll, but also, like I mentioned, all of the financial optimization that we think we could have available to us in the future. Additionally, we have a lot of need for continuation of report writing and security mapping. And when those systems refresh every Friday, it makes it really hard to build a report or be checking it. So we really do recommend that we move forward with this as well. Next slide, please.
Yeah, the non-refresh attendant is absolutely essential. We are not going to make much progress in our corrections or in taking advantage of features that exist without that. Flat out.
Yeah. And so this is just a model of what all of the resources together would look like. So our recommendation and our ask for this board is for us to be able to partner with Guidehouse for the additional bank of hours for the 130,000 that allows us to continue to work through our programming, integration, execution, and configuration to make sure that we are at a good place with HCM payroll. At the point that we are out of those hours, then HCM payroll also would become a part of that WSP. It would not just be finance, it would be a whole system. And so the transition works well in moving with Workday success plans. Guidehouse has also worked with obviously Workday consistently, and so they're very familiar with this model and the support as well. Guidehouse would really be there for the immediate day-to-day. The Workday success plan is very strategic. They're there more for strategy, for helping us to really ensure that our system is more robust and more efficient moving forward. And then obviously Spokane County staff, the governance team would continue to prioritize needs, manage the requests. We do have a new, we finally hired our Workday administrator. And so he will be taking lead with that governance team on making sure that we are prioritizing requests that are coming in, and then what projects we will be working, whether it be with Workday or Guidehouse. So we recognize that this has been a long runway and continues to be, but you know, like I mentioned, we're getting through implementation, but we just feel within this next year, we're gonna need a bit more continued support, which really does align with what other counties are doing and have done as well. Any questions for us?
So I guess go ahead. I'm trying to figure out, so you had, like, give me the numbers as to where we're really gonna end up at. Cause you had some amount that you still had that was unused. And so I'm kind of confused on what we're really agreeing to.
So it was around 120
Yep.
left over.
Yep.
Then there was a bill for 130, but then there were some other prices up there, so
Yeah, so if you go,
we have a good spreadsheet
So
with
we're
all of.
almost done. Nope. One more, this one. So what we're really gonna be asking for in addition is about 10 to 20,000. We're still projecting what's coming in. So we're assuming about 10 to 20,000 additional on top of the kind of cushion that we already had, that we could then apply toward the Guidehouse. But this is really the biggest new ask. And so it would be an additional
184.
Yeah, 184,000 a year plus the tenant for the 28.8, so an additional average annual cost of about 212,000 for the next 5 years.
Where does this come from? Thank you for asking.
So-
Yep, I would recommend for our initial term this year, 2026, to take it from general fund balance. And then for the remaining 4 years of the contract, we would work it in through the IT budget and have it allocated with the rest of the Workday subscription costs and training costs that we already are committed to for the next 12 years. So this is only a 5-year contract. Year one, we'd propose out of general fund balance to get us off the ground this year, knowing that we're mid-cycle, and then build it into the IT budget for long-term support.
So you said that there's like a bank of hours that you can access depending on your needs. So is that included an up to amount or certain number of hours, or how do they, will there be any additional billing beyond the 212? Okay. So we either use the hours that they have in the package or we don't. Okay.
And we have more than enough activity, and that's one of the.
Oh, I'm
things
sure we
that-
do.
Yes, oh, we definitely do. And that's one of the things that the ERP administrator, Josh, that's one of the things that the ERP administrator, Josh, tasked with, is making sure he's got a good list, that we always have topics to follow up. So essentially the way it works with Workday Success is we get 3 issues a week. And each one of those issues gets 3 hours. So we're gonna make sure that to the greatest extent possible, we have 3 topics every week.
And he'll help manage that and work with Workday, okay.
We'll make
Or
sure that,
work with your,
yeah, and that one will be Workday success.
okay.
So Josh, so he's your, tell me what his role is
ERP administrator
as the county
for the
employee.
county, yeah. So essentially Rose Press's job.
Yes, and how long do we intend to have him?
That's an indefinite position that we built into the budget.
Okay. So do we? Yeah, I guess I'm just. Do we need the Workday support for 5 more years?
Oh, probably, yeah.
We've got.
It also affords us 2 optimization packages in addition to the 3 Ask an Expert questions a week. And some of the things that Workday was recommending we look at initially for those optimization packages are things like security, which is something that we've struggled with internally. We've learned as much as we can from Guidehouse, and they are a wealth of knowledge, but sometimes they only know what they've experienced, and Workday has their entire platform plus their programmers to pull on. And so we would recommend doing a security optimization package relatively soon to ensure we can build and address internal controls and keep really strong security functionality within the system, and not inadvertently shortchange ourselves in any way.
It's 2 optimizations a year.
Yeah, and additional large projects that we know are coming at us that Josh, as wonderful as he is not going to be the sole person for. Sets in Jedi, those are aging out. Those are timekeeping scheduler systems that have been built in-house. And the gentleman that has built them and knows them is retiring in the not so distant future. We have got to get those eventually moved onto the Workday platform. It is not one person, Josh, he will help manage the project, but it is not realistic to ask or to task him with something like that. So these are huge implementations, right, or redesigns that we're hopeful at the end of the 5 years, Josh or whomever else on the team, Richard, Joel, Sarah, Veronica, right, that we will all learn and be able to do, but at least for the next 5 years, we know we have some large projects still coming at us we weren't tackling yet, that we really do need that Workday piece on still.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of money, but, or it sounds like a lot of money, but when you take a look at what we've already invested into the system. And also what we've invested in our human capital. This isn't just about the software, this is also about making it work for our staff, for the people out there. And also for the information that we need to pull back out of this system. And it is gonna take the good 5 years of effort with Workday to make that happen. Speaking as someone who's only got 19 more pay cycles and 8.5 months left, oh my God, you know, I am still. No, it's not that I'm counting down because I want to get out of here. I'm counting down because I'm scared to death. Yeah. I want to make sure.
We'll see, that second week of May, we'll see what happens.
What I want.
Second week of May, we'll see what happens.
What I want to make sure is that. the
Heard
next-
this before.
Not only the next auditor, but that this organization is well positioned to make use of the software in the future. Because I'm not gonna be here for that. I wanna make sure it's possible. These 2 contracts are absolutely essential. We need the bank of hours from Guidehouse to keep our feet under us. And then we need probably a good 5 years with Workday to get everything smoothed out, get things cleaned up, and then also actually make good use of the software. It's got some good capabilities, but right now we aren't in a position to really utilize the software the way it should be. And that may, getting a little off topic here, that may also include some policy changes, which working with Workday, we will be able to then do the research on the exploration we need to do to figure out how we need to change policy, to take advantage of. So I'm looking to 5 years down the road when I'm not here, but I'm looking for the next person who sits here and talks to you about it.
Is there an advantage to signing a 5-year support agreement versus some other time frame? I don't know if that's a negotiation or what that looks like.
Yeah, so we actually have a cheaper rate if we sign on a 5-year than if we were to do like the or even the 3-year. So originally they actually proposed what, a 12-year?
12-year.
But
The length of our term with the rest of our workday contract.
But we recognized, and in trying to be, smart with our funds that we have, that a 5-year is probably more realistic, and our governance team believes that within 5 years, we would likely then have the skill to be able to do a lot of things technically internally, or at least be able to make a better assumption about what we might need in the future. And so that's why we determined to bring the 5-year forward, is we still got a discount versus if we did a 3-year or a 1-year. And we all recognize that we have about a 5-year runway ahead of us, just based on what we've seen with starting in 2023, right? We're almost 5 years in, honestly, and we know where we're at. So we expect about a 5 more year until we've been able to really work through that product, knowing we have 2 huge optimizations still ahead of us.
Can I just continue?
Oh,
So folding in the 211,000-ish into the IT budget, then does that mean IT budget is gonna request to go up by that much, or is that really just subject to what all the other needs are within the overall budget?
We'll go with the second choice for right now.
Okay.
That our intention and our plan is to
Save
rework the
elsewhere.
budget, and Sean and I have already started through the IT budget do a full deep dive through it and ensure that we are prioritizing expenses like the workday subscription and things like that, that we know our priority pays, and kind of build the budget around those items.
Seems like a good answer. So one more, so we have Guidehouse, Bank of Hours, and then Workday Success Plans versus all the other potential solutions that could be out there, other consultants. Why do you feel that this is kind of the best match for what we need?
For the near term, Guidehouse is you're gonna be more familiar with where we are right now, and the fact that we get to keep Mary Ann, her payroll is huge. Yeah. Because right now, that's
So can we put it in the contract that Mary Ann can't go anywhere?
I think they get that.
Okay.
And then, what we've heard back from some of the other Washington counties is the Workday Success Plan has been literally that, very successful for them. That also gives us a bank of knowledge within Workday of having worked with Washington counties.
And which
And
Washington
that's-
counties are on it.
Kitsap, I know Kitsap's on it, Clark used it, Yakima, King, I think City of Seattle.
And then
So there's,
WSU.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a whole Pacific Northwest users group.
Yeah.
For Workday. So we're banking on their knowledge.
Can I ask, it just seems odd to me, does Workday understand how difficult their program is to use? I mean, like,
Yeah, so part
we
of
have
it,
to hire a consultant to teach us how to use I mean, why is their program not more user friendly? I assume we're not the only county that's struggling in this implementation. I mean, I know we're way too far down the road, but should we have picked another program?
I still don't think we should have. So I've done this with multiple companies, and it's, especially in the beginning, the first few years, you're just getting your sea legs up, right? And there's a lot of transition, and you have people like many of us who were very green and don't understand how the system works, right? And then on top of that, we know what we've always known, and we've done what we've always done. And so oftentimes, intentional or not, we try to slam in our same processes into a new system. And we did a lot of that. We did change some stuff, but we did a lot of that too. And so regardless of if it's Workday, I actually was speaking with another city that just transitioned to Oracle PeopleSoft, and their issues are bigger than ours actually right now. So it not that it makes me comforted, but it kind of comforts me that this is pretty standard when it comes to large system transitions. And so I will say, to your question, but also Chris, to yours, you use third-party implementers, that's why these people exist, right? To work with us, to work with green people that have never seen this to help build it, but those people have only seen what they've seen as well. So to your question on other vendors, back to Auditor Donald's point, we really want to stick with the ones that have already helped us set ours up, because bringing in another set of eyes that are not Workday, I think puts us potentially at another disadvantage where we're spinning our wheels, where we're not getting through our solution quickly. Commissioner Kearns, to your point, we will learn it, but it just takes time. Like, these systems are incredibly complex. But in addition to that, we have employees that are doing their regular day jobs that have also been tasked with learning Workday and setting up Workday and maintaining Workday. So we didn't have the luxury of picking these people up out of their regular jobs and creating a whole team of Workday to just go become pro certified and build the system, right? We basically said, hey, Sarah, or hey, Veronica, please keep doing what you're doing with your regular job, but now go learn this new system as well. And so they're learning as quickly as they can, but to expect them to just be able to do it, it's gonna take us some time, which is where those third parties come into play, and then where Workday fits supports in the future.
This is not a typical county implementation. This was so big, it affects every department in the county. Whereas other like, Aumentum is basically, assessor treasurer, so. Trying to work with everybody, and bring them out of the dark ages of 20 whatever years of PeopleSoft and into a more modern and best practices is challenging. So yes, definitely another 5 years of Workday support definitely benefits from.
So, thanks for all the information, and I'm glad we're doing it, but it's been painful, but I guess my two questions are, will this contract, if we've replicated inefficient processes just for the speed of, moving over to a new system, will this contract help us then unravel maybe some inefficient practices that we just replicated that we don't? Okay, so that'll be that could be part of the 3 things per week that we try and fix. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then the other question is, kind of on the budget side, having departments get trained and managers of departments understanding how to use the system to pull information out, to understand how they're spending their budget. A more real-time information rather than in the old system. You didn't have real-time information. You're always kind of looking backwards and then trying to catch up. Will this contract help with our own internal training plan? Or is that something that
That's something we're addressing separately, and I would say is predominantly on us. And Commissioner Brooks has helped us. We are setting up a meeting with department heads and county finance staff for May 7th, I believe it's Thursday, to join us. We're going to be hosting kind of a demonstration of Workday again, helpful reports, tips, tricks, ways to save things for department heads to run reports more timely for themselves, independent. So we've got that booked, and then we're gonna host open office hours immediately afterwards. So if people want hands-on computer training, they can come sit in the budget office and get some of that as well.
And then on back of that, we also, with our LMS going live with Workday, we can also record that session. And the other thing that I was talking to Jason Metcalf about potentially is we can assign that to new users as they come in as well. So we can record that presentation, we can pick parts of it and highlight them or tear them apart. And then if I'm a new finance manager coming in as a part of my onboarding training, those specific videos can be assigned to me. So those are other options that we have available with Workday that we didn't have as easily available in the past. So we'll be looking at that as well to figure out where can we best record some of these sessions. And the HR team is actually this week, they were going to be recording in just a new hire onboarding to test how we can make that work for some of our offsite employees that work in like aquatics or things like that, where it's more difficult to bring them in. So we're trying to get that ready as well so that we can support the fin side when it comes to those reporting functions.
That sounds good, because I think, as we start to move into budget season, if everybody has the same setting up, we should probably make sure that every department has the same template for running reports. So that then when they come to present to the board about, you know, their budget, how they're doing to date, what they're looking at for 2027, that we have the same types of information that is apples to apples.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's something that can be built into every, I don't know if those reports have already been built
Well,
in,
That's part of why we're having to
figure out what
It's
that would
so,
look like.
so we can say, this is what the budget office is looking at and the reports that they're pulling. So I'm not sure what each department is doing. Everyone's kind of doing a little bit different. So we can say you either need to reconcile between the two from the department.
Got it.
Or you need to be knowing this is what's happening and make sure that, again, you can use this report or you can use other reports, but you've got to make sure that they're reconciling back and forth between the two.
Great.
Because those are the reports that budget is going to give the commissioner. So when I was just down at A&M, I met with what's his title? I met with two gentlemen. One is the Chief Shared Services Officer, ITFIP, and then the other is the Director of Workday Services, because they went to Workday. And so it was interesting, and this is what I think where I agreed to the additional funds. We need to come up with what is our internal governance for Workday. That, and you may have it, I don't know what it is, but it's truly, we don't have trust right now. That's what I see. So we didn't have trust with the payroll. We had payroll numbers that weren't correct, you know, with people out there in payroll. We don't have trust with the financials, so that's why we're having this meeting. We have to build that trust because Workday is the book of record. And so to get people not to be talking trash about Workday and that we do all have to come along, we have to figure out how to build that trust with the users out there. I'm not talking about us in this room because we have that trust, but we've got to talk about the trust with the users coming up. And so that was a key thing that they really pushed upon me when I was meeting with them, is that if we don't have that, the system can fail. And so we have to really look at what is the structure that we want to have, and they called it a governance structure, to make sure that we're getting the information. They have like quarterly meetings. So I don't know. So I just want to talk through that before the May meeting, so that way we can have a clear, you know, identified path for everyone to build that trust within the system so we can be successful. Because we can have all the help from Guidehouse and Workday and like A&M did, Deloitte was there, you know. So everyone's doing somebody who helps them implement. But if we don't have the trust from our staff and the people that are doing the work, that we could be wasting money. And so I just want to make sure that we have some kind of, we've thought through what that system looks like. So that way we can make sure we're successful.
And the reason the four of us are here is we are representatives of that governance committee. And so we have Auditor Dalton, a human resources representative, IT, budget. Jeff is formerly the voting member. I'm his alternate. Treasury. So we also have Krista Rice engaged as a governance member. We have detention, Heather Arnold representing grants and procurement, heavily invested in this ongoing system maintenance conversation. And we've talked about these
Getting to the everyday staff that are using it and how we're getting input from them.
So we're expecting the governance committee members, and they have been, to be bringing forward those issues. We also, because this is still so fresh, we have multi-week cross-functional committee meetings still. So as we move out of the kind of go live, it will be more formalized with the governance, I think, and how we're bringing those issues forward. But right now it's expected that each governance member is bringing forward the issues that they have within their different areas, so to speak. And we do meet, right now it's bi-weekly. Eventually we had talked, maybe we move monthly and then hopefully eventually someday quarterly, but we know monthly is much more realistic for probably the next 5 years, so that we can also determine what are those optimization projects, what are those calls. The structure we have in place is a vote, so no one person is making the decision for what projects are being given hours or time, so each member has an equal vote. And then majority wins, right? So we definitely do have that governance and state in place. Right now, we're using payroll stabilization, which is some of the governance committees, but also a broader subset of employees that represent different departments. And those are really our communications that have been very much around payroll right now, because we recognize that has been our hottest issue, right? And that's been our biggest thing to make sure we're getting information out. Once we get past the hump of payroll, we'll likely have different communications that fall back more on the overall workday. But right now, the focus really has been how are we communicating to employees about payroll? Because that's what they need information on. So yeah, we definitely have that in place. And have a plan for how to continue to utilize it in the future, but we likely do need to put some sort of SOP or something in place. It's just not written at this point, but we have definitely put together a governance structure that represents the bulk of the.
So between now and May, because we've got to keep moving. Because I know Chris gonna have the hard stop. We have executive sessions to get to. So it's not, I'm not trying to debate it or any of that. I'm just trying to say that that is something that I want to sit down and make sure that we're clear, because when we meet on May 6th, I want to make sure we're clear with everybody what that structure is. They talk to all of those things. So we're just work on that.
So just to add to that a tiny bit before moving on. Right now, our governance structure is very top down. And I think what you're talking about is bottom up, giving the users and people the opportunity to get information.
Yeah, they need to have the ability that it's like, this isn't working for them or why. And again, they were very clear. It's not a democracy, it's a dictatorship, in the governance structure, because there's things that you can't do that people don't like. But you still have to hear it and understand it and know if you can make the change or not, instead of just the immediate, no, this is how it is, and we're telling you what to do. And I think that's just gonna help build that trust with the system, and, because then they understand why not.
Yeah, I kind of like what you're saying is that maybe there's a way to, within that governance structure, build in more ideas for gathering that. Maybe there's a survey that could go out to all the users every now and then to actually gauge it with data as to how people are feeling about it. Things like that would be interesting to look at.
Yeah, no, and I will follow up with her, and we can follow up with the gentleman, because they have a pretty good structure.
So one last item to lock in this price. We need to have a head nod today on workday.
It'll show up on a resolution, the last resolution of the last day of April. So
do we have to have the decision by then?
We lose the pricing if we don't have it by the 20th, because it's the end of their fiscal year. And so we've not only gotten the 5-year discount, but we also got an additional fiscal end of year for them discount that we would lose if we do not have this in place. We also lose Guidehouse support, like we mentioned at the end of this month. And so they will, if we don't get this in place, we do not have their continued support. Think about
And so how long have you guys been negotiating this?
A few weeks.
I don't know, it's just frustrating that we have to make these decisions based on today. We have I won't say got burned, but that was one of the issues last year.
Yep.
On the budget, with a couple of people coming to us with, oh, we have to get this done quickly, so. Like I said, I wasn't gonna give the head nod until I knew kind of how we could figure out the governance structures. 6, but.
Just a question. And so if there's a head nod of the direction that allows Guidehouse or Workday to sign the contract, and then what we do is take a final action until the 28th, is that? So if we wanted to say move forward with the contract, we could still talk further about the overall plan on the 28th in the morning. Just a possibility in terms of. I think your points are all very well taken. I agree. I'd like to hear more about that. At the same time, I think it's important that we do all we can to ensure the success of the rollout. So I think it makes sense to move forward and let's continue having further dialogue about how we get that trust, because that's critical.
Yeah, I agree. So have plan for an update on kind of what's our internal governance approach. And build, a few ideas that can be presented back to us on how we're going to work with users to build that trust that you're referring to. Sure.
If we think the 28th is too close to the vote, because we're voting that, I mean, we meet on the 27th too. I mean, you could argue this is long term.
Yeah.
Too, so have the discussion on the 27th.
Yeah, I would say let's put a more time in on that 40 minutes.
Thank you for your work and for finding out what's been successful for other counties. I think that was good information.
Yeah, and those discussions have been going on for months. The
Right.
Pricing, we really just in the last few weeks said, okay, this is what we really need. We're running out of time. What can we get? So we've been talking to the counties for months about.
And then Chair, just on the matter of what comes next, Ryan Dosh is waiting if you wanted to discuss the.
Here is Brian.
Deciding to. Yeah, thanks. I've only got about 10 minutes.
He doesn't have anything else.
Ryan presenting?
But this is Lewis. What are we presenting on?
We were told that there would be some questions about the curriculum committees.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it is the next item, right? With that.
Yes, it is with Ben.
Oh, okay.
So.
Let's do.
I'll just.
Kevin. I can trade seats with you because actually Ryan's gonna be answering all the questions, not me. Welcome to the job. Oh, by the way, everybody, Mike McLaughlin did retire on March 20th and Ryan Joseph is now the elections manager. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Ryan.
Welcome to the fire out of the frying pan.
Good morning, Commissioners. As an update, this is in regards to the West Plains Aquifer Protection Area. We have our public hearing tonight to consider the resolution to put it on the ballot, on the August ballot for this year, 2026. We have confirmation and all of the documentation in hand. All three of the West Plains cities, Cheney, Airway Heights, and Medical Lake, have passed their resolutions to be included in the aquifer protection area, or to be included in the vote of the citizen to for them to decide if this will be West Plains Aquifer Protection Area. And if you remember from this time last year, one component of this is establishing the for and against committees for the ballot insurance. Hand it off to Ben and Amy to kind of talk you through where we're at.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Yeah, so we have the hearing today at 2 o'clock is the final item on the 2 p.m. agenda for the public hearing. And then part of that, if it proceeds forward to the election, is the need to appoint the for and against committee, and documents need to be to elections office by May 1st of this year. And so what we have today is a proposal for sort of the next slide is names for the for committee. We've talked with these 4 residents in the community and they're all willing to participate in the for committee. We don't have anybody for the against committee, but as we've received comments that have come in for the public hearing, and then potentially today is an opportunity to ask people that be interested in participating in the against committee. We've had a couple comments of people that are against, and we can reach out to them by email. We can create that against committee.
Yeah, look like you're raising your hand.
Oh, I'm sorry, no, it's just
okay.
imposter.
And so we can create that as well, and so. The intent would be for this to go, at least at a minimum, the 4 committee would go to the county commissioners to go to you for decision by the 28th, and then we can notify those members. As committee as well, so that's it for slides. Just have those 4 names that many of you have they come and testified on this topic, and they're very interested.
And I guess Brian, just how do we have to make sure we do the pro and con committees?
Yeah, basically they're due the same time the resolution is due, which is on May 1st. And if you're unable to come up with the con committee, then we advertise it on the election social media pages on the website. And they basically have anyone that lives in that area that is a registered voter can contact us to be part of the con committee by the day of the statement deadline, and that's May 5th. So they have to let us know by noon they're interested in being part of the con committee, and then the pro and con statements are due at May 5th at 1 p.m.
And if the commissioners would like, after the hearing today, we can gather both the written public testimony, and if we have any oral testimony, reach out to those individuals, and we can see if we can get 3 participants on the con committee, and we can either email those to you or we can brief that on the morning of the 28th. We have to have the resolution on your legislative session on the 28th, so we can circle those names in advance for y'all to choose from, but we just don't have them at this moment.
And you'll ensure that they're willing to be on the con.
Yes, we want to, we'll make sure that they have given us a
Just check.
response that they would like to be on it. These are the 4 names that have reached out or that we've been in contact with that have said they are. So we need to whittle this list down to 3 by the 28th, which we can do today, or we can do by the time we submit the resolution, but everything going on, if we wanted to address this today, we could. If we'd like some time to think about it, we can follow up.
So you wanted to whittle the names down today?
If you want to eliminate one name, we could start preparing the documentation for the 4 committee resolution. If you would not like to do this today, we just, by the time we submit the resolution on the 28th, so got about a week.
We have to pass the resolution on the 28th.
We
Can we leave the names blank until the 28th? Or do we have to have it in? I think we have to have the names in by Friday.
Good question.
And at whatever point we can the last chance for us to update the resolution.
I think we have to appoint the committee members by the resolution deadline. And our resolution deadline is May 1st.
Right, but we have to approve the resolution prior to that.
Well,
The 28th.
we approved the resolution on the 28th, right?
So my question is, can we have it be blank names, so we fill the names in?
Out of it at the dais.
Does that require?
We could discuss it Monday, the 27th.
We would basically be by leave then at that point.
I think we want the names when we approve the resolution.
We have to have them pre-done.
To be on the resolution.
Yes. And then, since we don't meet again until the 27th.
Can I ask, so all 4 of these people have said they would like to be on the 4 list? Okay, I'll just throw, I only know the first 3 names. I don't know the 4th name, so. I mean, Craig is the first 3 are regular folks that have come down and testified. You know, several times over the last couple of years, and I know Hank was City of Array Heights council member, so that's how I know him, but. So I know the first 3, I don't know the 4th gentleman on the list. But.
We actually did have interest from other council members from that wanted to be in support, but it was recommendation that we do not use any elected officials.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Hank is no longer.
Yeah, he's a former.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, I would support the first 3 if we want to make that decision today, but we're gonna have to come back and add potentially names for the con committee. So we could do that today, or we could touch this on the, but I see what you're saying. On the 27th, it's getting a little late to add stuff because Friday's the deadline for the agenda, the previous Friday.
Previous Friday. So. So I would say, yeah, I know the top three, I don't know who three.
And they come from 3 different parts of the area, West Bay, so.
So we can move forward with that, and if you'd like, we'll see if we get interested respondents in the coming days and reach out to you. For opinions on the against committee and just try to.
Yeah, we don't need to state that you have 3 commissioners approving the con names.
That's correct.
That's my concern.
We can work with each of your offices individually if you'd like, just to get opinions. How would you like us to proceed?
I think we will figure it out because we don't have the names right now to even discuss, so. We will work with legal to figure out what we need to do.
We can ask for 3, that's not.
Yes, first 3 to raise our hands or to testify, so. But we'll see if we even get 3 that want to do it. So, otherwise, then we go through the other process, so. So that'll be first and foremost is if we get 3 that agree to even be on.
We can start by reaching out to those, giving us written testimony already.
Great. Okay, thank you.
This is for a temporary access easement for our Grace Sewer Project. There's 2 streets in the project that will have difficult access during construction, particularly during paving and trenching. And so we approached the mobile home park, River Rose Mobile Home Park to the south of the Grace Sewer Project, if they would allow us to have a temporary outlet for some of the residents, and they agreed. So we worked with Jasper and wrote up this temporary access easement agreement, and they've signed it. And so now it just needs to be accepted by the board, and just want to see if there was any questions or concerns about that. I believe Grace Sewer Project is on the agenda today for awarding the project to North. It was North Fork Contractors, I believe they're called. They're out of Idaho. So I just want to see if any questions or concerns.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You.
Good morning. Appreciate your time this morning. Have a quick one, try and make up some time for the board. It's regarding the direct sale of a portion of a parcel of property that's owned by the general fund. Parcel in question, you can see on the overhead, is the combination of the red outline parcel and the yellow outline parcel. That's currently just one parcel. Next slide. So some history on this one. It was acquired in 1999 from the state for 8,700. We sold the very north portion that's no longer part of that parcel we were looking at, 2009 for a little 16.5. Now, the part that was outlined in yellow, the northern portion of that parcel represents about 1/3 of it. The joining owner is requesting to purchase it. He currently has a garage and some outbuildings encroaching. That's due to really not any fault of his own. There were a lot of survey problems out in this area. This is the Four Lakes area. And they believed it was their property. It turns out it was not. And so we're recommending a directed sale. Next slide, please.
Sure. Commissioners, if you recall, we briefed you on this last year. When we wanted to start moving this process along, it's just taken so long that we're back here to rebrief you on this. We actually initiated this.
Been a while.
Yeah, probably 9 months ago. So being as long as it's been, we wanted to make sure we came back.
Yeah, we don't believe there's any use county general or road fund wise for the property. We have no issue with the correct sale on our end. And it seems appropriate. We sold the northern portion. We're probably going to eventually sell the southern portion. It's very nearly an acre though. It by itself, it remains a buildable lot. So that one will probably be a little different situation. There aren't currently any significant encroachments on it, but this one, you have their garage on it. So these are kind of the direct terms of sale or sale terms. It's allowed for in county code. The appraisal for the entire acre and a half was 90,000. Since we're selling a third, our proposed price for it would be a third of the 90 or $30,000. The buyer would pay for the boundary line adjustment work. It's about $1,700 is, I believe, the estimate on that. And as a condition of that, we'd ask that they relinquish their easement that they have over the entire parcel, just so the remaining 1 acre isn't encumbered. And this process does require. Happy to answer any questions.
Yeah. You. Dr. Zing, I see you're on Zoom.
Hello, everyone. I don't know if my camera is on. I can't tell from here.
We don't see you. We just see your name. So camera is not working. Now you're muted. There we go. Yes, for some reason the camera, oh, there you
Okay,
are.
Here we go. Hello, everyone. Sorry about that little glitch there. So I have what I think is also a quick one for you this morning. So you might remember that earlier this year, you approved an interagency agreement with Washington State Patrol so that the medical examiner's office could accept federal grant funding through the Coverdell Forensic Science Improvement Grant Program. And part of that funding is dedicated to continuing our overdose surveillance work using same-day toxicology testing with our Randox machines that we had acquired on a different grant. So these machines are made by Randox Laboratories. They use unique technology to analyze blood for multiple drugs of abuse. And they're the only company that manufactures these machines that are suitable for our needs for postmortem testing. And therefore, they're the only company that manufactures the test kits that fit into these machines that the machines use for analysis. So this morning, I would just like to ask you to approve a sole source declaration because the amount that we're dedicating to purchasing the test kits is greater than $50,000. So that would require a sole source declaration. But again, these are the only kits that we can use for the analyzers that we already have. So that's my ask. I don't know if you guys have any questions for me on the program. This is something that we have been doing since about 2022, I think is when we acquired those machines. So you probably have heard about the testing before.
Didn't we get the machines with ARP dollars or COVID?
With ARP dollars, yes, exactly right. And we had purchased the first bolus or first bunch of kits with the ARP money as well. And then we've just been kind of using that money and other grant money to keep the program going and keep purchasing the kits. But the machines are working great and we're getting a lot of good results out of them.
No, I don't have a problem with that. That's what a lot of these companies do. You've got to use their test kits for their machines. So
right. Yeah, unfortunately, they don't all work together. So you got to stick with one system. So
yeah. I think we're okay.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too. Good morning. Good morning.
Jonathan Smith is here to speak to a grant. We would like to pursue reimbursement of funds that have already been spent.
Here we go.
So we're looking for your approval and support for submitting a grant application for to the Recreational Conservation Office for acquisition of a property we acquired back in 2023. It's a 102 acre addition to the Dishman Hills Conservation Area. It was purchased in 2023 with Conservation Futures Program dollars, and that purchase was approved by the board. It expands available habitat and public access in Dishman Hills Conservation Area and widens an identified wildlife corridor that was discussed in the Dishman Hills Joint Management Agreement between County Parks, Department of Natural Resources, and Dishman Hills Conservancy. In 2023, the purchase price was $3,590,000. And so our application is to the Recreation and Conservation Office Washington Wildlife Recreation Program. And we're seeking reimbursement of the Conservation Futures Program now for up to 50% of those acquisition costs. Next slide, please. So with many of these types of grants, of course, there's a match required. And so this match will come in the form of obligations that the county will fulfill. By accepting this funding from RCO, we will commit to permanently protect the property for conservation and for compatible public recreation through a recorded deed of right. So this will be permanently recreational property and habitat.
Perfect.
And we will also agree to follow the management requirements outlined in the agreement between RCO and Spokane County. All these are all consistent with our current guidelines for Conservation Futures Program already. So it is not requiring anything that we don't already do. So if you support our application, we'll pursue a grant from RCO in the amount of $1,816,312. Slide, please. We were a little concerned with the timeline for submitting this application, and so we worked and we asked for permission to put the resolution to pursue this grant funding on April 14th, today's legislative meeting. And so if you support us in this effort, we will see a resolution on the legislative meeting today at 2 o'clock.
Being out next week and looking to meet their guidelines, so.
This is correct me, the old stone properties, the old.
It was nominated as the McPhee property.
McPhee property,
And-
thank you.
Yeah, and that slide up there, I think, does a nice job at zeroing in a little bit
Yes.
more on the property, and it's just been a great addition out there to the trail system. It's one that I frequent. Great.
Any questions?
I just had a question. So where it says match 50%. Is there any money going out from our side, or is it that we paid the other half of the property?
We've already paid for it.
Okay.
That's considered.
Okay, that's the 50%. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Back into conservation.
Yes, yes, if we're successful, the funds would go back into the conservation program for future acquisitions.
Okay. Seems like a win-win.
Yeah. I think it's great. I just was wondering, when you're looking at what to apply for with the RCO, different funds of the state, is this one, like, we're highly eligible because we already purchased it, so that's the match? Is that why you chose to apply for this particular one?
Well, I went and I looked at previous similar acquisitions and reimbursements and grant funding, and this is the program. And I also reached out to our grants manager, and they gave us some direction on, you know, looking at the property, looking at what we wanted to do and what the property was for, which program would be the best fit for what we were looking to do, so.
Combination of eligibility and our ability to be competitive. And
Right,
we
right.
feel we could be competitive in this category. We have had a decent amount of success in the past as well in this category.
Great, all right.
Great, yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
We already did actually.
Yeah, it actually is the best.
50-50, whether he's in person or on.
There. Yeah, what will we do without? Hey, good
Hey,
morning.
good morning, Justin.
There's a slight change to the agenda. There was a topic removed, and in the midst of removing that topic, my PowerPoint that I had originally attached was also removed. So we got this updated one, but you may not have that in your packet. So I apologize for that. But at least I was able to get this up, so I appreciate Gina and Ron helping out with that. It's a small one. This should take only about 5 minutes. I gave this update earlier this year. But this is one of those weird ones that comes off cycle because it follows the school year and not the state fiscal year. So there's overlapping contracts. Next slide. This is the School to Work support program for our DD contracts. So with DDCS, this allows for individuals to receive that additional support while they're still in school. So this is why it follows the school cycle. The current one is still in place and it ends when the school year ends. The next one will start up in September. We usually get started now, put the contract out to cover the summer and then going into the next school year. So the service or the contract amounts we presented the last time remain the same in this new contract. This would just be the approval for the board to continue with this overlapping and next contract that will actually flow into 2027. And it's a fee for service contract. So the providers will be paid based on what they utilize. So the amount up to the capped amount that the state gives us, which is roughly around $200,000. We can't exceed it. And the services are considered to be a required pay for the state's contract, meaning if they provide it, you provide it to them. So more about a pass-through on that. So we're just asking the board that they'll see this come before you. So you'll see this on your the next one, but the following one when you guys have your next session that you guys just approve that resolution to allow us to continue that contract. Otherwise, no other changes. Continue to provide the service as well as the current contracted providers to cover that. Yes, I think that's the next one, but like I said, there was a little bit of jumble and I got switched. So
That's all good.
that is it.
Are you staying for the settlement update?
I'm gonna listen in case.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not going to be.
Should be done.
Okay.
For an update on the work groups.
Okay, wait, here we go. This is gone, so I'll be right back.
Good morning.
Not leaving, leaving.
Hurry up. Like we know. What's up? Yeah, just 1 second. I'm gonna be quickly on this, like, we need Chris back. No, he just went to get. Okay.
It's so important.
And I didn't have that. Okay.
Essential. Thank you.
Want to make sure we had quorum before we started.
That's a good idea. Probably a good.
For your request, I've asked Dawn to come over, give an update on the work crews and allow you guys to ask questions.
Should we wait for Commissioner Kearns?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so sounds good. So yeah, we're just most of the things that we presented back in October on the financial impacts of work crew and with maybe some updates and probably answer any questions. So I think you guys know Lieutenant Jason Robinson and vice members. All right, next page, Gina, hi. Okay, what is?
So this is a slide we saw back in October, September, October. This was the work crew budget under the status quo budget for a total expenditure budget of $731,000 for 2026 as the estimate. And we estimated that we were going to collect approximately $130,000 of revenue. The program was to continue, which left approximately $600,000 left over that would have been allocated out to the advisory agencies. And then a portion left over for the county responsibility.
So yeah, just be clear, 126 would be allocated out and county responsibility would have been 475.
For 2 work crews.
For 2 crews and a supervisor.
This also was a slide that was presented back in October. As you can see here, we estimated based on 2024 hours and the amount that we charged. And then the last 2 columns are the estimated agency costs if they had to hire it out using minimum wage and then potentially prevailing wage, some county departments. And you can see there the highlighted line for county departments was going to be as an estimate of approximately $111,000 more than what we would have charged out using our daily rate.
And the vast majority of that, I think close to 4,000 hours of that, 4,278, that's for the county fair. Majority of that's county fair, so.
Slide. So this is updated now that we have finalized 2025. So same exact slide as the previous, just with 2025 numbers. It's again, back to the highlighted line there, 5,100 hours that were provided out to county departments. Approximately 4,800 of those hours were for the fair.
We're going pretty fast. Are we going too fast? Any questions?
So can you just, can you explain like City of Spokane Valley, other community agencies? I'm assuming that would be like Hoop Fest or.
Yep,
Different.
yeah, Hoop Fest, Balloons Day, yep. Breakdown.
But like the City of Spokane Valley or City of Spokane, is that for like parades or specific events or?
Mostly cleanup.
Oh, cleanup.
So our
areas.
2 biggest customers are the fairgrounds on the valley.
Oh, in the valley.
The valley.
Okay.
So we had right of way cleanups, there's cleanups.
Like here.
Not an event. So.
I think the event for the valley was, what's the thing?
Valley Fest.
But then they also, the workers also did a lot of the right of way cleanup.
I see, yeah.
Yes, we've always had a lot of height in that valley, very integrated. In the public works, so basically, they would dispatch us on a daily basis to projects. Kind of ad hoc. It was a very effective model.
Any other questions before, but this was 2025, once we got end of year data. Yeah. And then so when we.
So like, so a question like the junior livestock show, was that considered part of the fairgrounds or could I not see them on the list?
It would be, if it took, we lump it together as one site of fairgrounds, so I don't break it down based upon the events. So for the stats I just gave you are for 24 and 25. So for example, in those years, we spent almost 100 days, and those are days, not hours, at the fairgrounds. Basically, we alternate, it's not always the same events every year that we set up, so we're tied into not just fair prep and the pre-fair, fair and post-fair, we're also tied into a lot of their events, and then a lot of their groundskeepings too. Upkeep, garbage cleanup, parking lot cleanup, so it's all integrated, so it kind of varies.
Cause I just wanna, like, we were getting, at least I got emails on the junior livestock show and then talked to Aaron about like the mineral and gem show and so things that are, I mean, even though it's separate than the fair, it's at the fairgrounds, but there's separate organizations that are paying separately.
Yes, that all goes through the fair though. We work for the fair, so we're the kind of the conduit. So these special groups come into the fairground site. The fairgrounds brings us individual work. So all of our work's funneled through the fair versus all those individual groups. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, and I think what we're seeing is you were having it be just, you know, minimum wage and hours. It's like they can't find people. I mean, it's not just to say that it would just cost them so much, it's costing them a lot more because
It's the consistency, is that reliability that's huge nowadays, you know. And it's a struggle because it's not just this, you know, all these organizations that are listed here are in the same boat trying to find reliable labor. And they have a lot of writing on this event. Being successful, starting on time. You know, there's a lot of to-dos that are involved, like this Hoop Fest. You typically do about 35 days for Hoop Fest. It's not just Hoop Fest. Hoop Fest is obviously it's set up on a Friday, tear down on a Sunday, but there's weeks and weeks of work to go in prior to Hoop Fest, and then there's all the post Hoop Fest. For example, same thing with the fair. It's weeks and weeks of work, even if they're ready, 10 days of the fair, and then the product.
Can I ask what, so you're saying work crew does a lot of work for Hoop Fest that far in advance?
Correct, we do all the prep, so all the tearing off of all the labels on all the hoops, the application of those.
Oh, I guess I didn't.
All the gift bags. The gift bags that the teams receive, we put all those together, prepare, loading all the trucks. There's a lot of pre-work that has to happen for Friday, the setup day.
Plus they do all the taping, setting up the courts.
So we do the court setups. The Boy Scouts usually do the taping.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I thought you guys just helped with the setup, the tear down, and maybe like some garbage removal sort of during the event, kind of like at the fair.
That is true, but it's a lot more than that.
Yeah, I didn't realize you did stuff that far in advance and kind of after, okay.
Okay. And really, historically, our staff are the subject matter experts for a lot of these organizations too, because they rely on our incurred knowledge, having done it for years and years.
Any other questions before this slide? This slide, so like I said, during our budget cuts from last year, we didn't only just vacate the 2 officers from work crew as well as the sergeant from work crew. We also closed down Geiger A building. I'm not sure if you remember, that's where we housed the work crew. So if we were to reinstate work crew, there would be a challenge as well because we don't have that available space now. So we've drawn down the population out there. Geiger A building's not open as well. So that's part of the impact of this 588,000 is not only just the work crew officers and sergeants, the officers we pulled out of Geiger A building for custody and we put them into relief spots. So we would have challenges moving forward with the housing. So it's not just the work crew officers themselves where we house them. We try to keep them separate. We've always kept them separate from the rest of the population because they're out in the community concerned about contraband issues.
Can you go back to the previous slide?
You have a question about it, Mike?
I'm just looking at the numbers here. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
So this one here was a slide that was presented during our budget in the fall also.
And our population out of Geiger is actually down from that right now. The population down both is down in both facilities right now. So.
How many would be on the crew, Jason?
Right now, we're limited of availability of inmate laborers. Right now, as of today, we have 10 available, 10 that would be, you have 2 crews of 5.
So it would be 2 crews?
2 crews of 5.
2 crews of 5.
Ultimately, you'd want 2 crews.
the only 10 inmates available right now that meet the criteria to be on a work crew. There would only be 2 small crews of 5.
Years past, we had crews of 6 to 8, and we just don't have the available inmates right now, the eligible inmates, I'm sorry.
Is that eligible as far as a risk factor or eligible as in that's the only number that have said they want to participate in that?
It's based upon a classification.
Okay.
Matrix, so, we typically have never had a lack of volunteers. It's a matter of who meets the security criteria.
Okay.
On
And there's only 10 right now.
Right.
Out of what's your population out there today? How many folks?
140 at Geiger right now.
And only 10 meet it. Wow.
Yeah, that,
139.
it's, the issue is just the low level offender, not what's in custody right now. That's not our typical inmate.
We're also finding just the withdrawal monitor and the withdrawal protocol that our medical provider puts them through. So they're on withdrawal. Most inmates are on withdrawal monitor for the first 6 days. And so by the time the 6 days out, the low level offenders are actually getting out of custody. So by the time they would be eligible to go to Geiger, they've already been released. Not everybody, but that is impacting our population.
So when, at the end of last year, when the decision was made to not fund, we had 2 crews at that time. Is 2 crews of 5 sufficient to help Bloomsday or Food Fest and some of these?
It's been our norm for the last year. So again, a lot of the projects we work on are not always volume driven either. Sometimes you just need a small crew, a small consistent crew is better than having a large inconsistent crew where you have a lot of people to manage. Sometimes, especially like in Oak's warehouse, for example, you have a small tight crew, you're more productive in your projects than having a bunch of people run around this year. So a lot of our details, and again, because we have a built-in supervision component to this, we're more effective with smaller groups. Let's say if you were to outsource the labor ready, where you're having to manage a bunch of people that have never been there before and really aren't buying success.
So even though it's smaller than we would like, it could still be a useful service if we can figure out a way to make it.
A lot of last year we sent out up to 6, but we weren't sending the 8 that we had in the past. 6 seemed like a number we did most of last year.
That was our average.
And we just picked a day and time, we have 10. And it's been 12, even as recently as last week, we had 12 eligible, but we don't have a mass number that we had at one time. Years ago, Jason had 6 or even 7 crews. Did you have 7 crews?
Yeah, at one point we had, a crew of 70 offenders. We had 7 crews. And as things have changed and ebbed and flowed over the years, we've seen it ebb and flow this way as far as population. We have a number of eligible inmates we have. So now we're seeing this new norm post-COVID is less lower level offenders.
Jason, does that include the sentence population that Ken you're referring to? Or is it?
Most of them are pre-adjudicated. So most of our adjudicated population, which is Mike's referring to as the sentence population, it's a very low number in general in custody. And about half of them usually are down at the jail because they're not Geiger eligible. Those are like sex offenders and whatnot that aren't eligible for Geiger. And then the remainder of those, even though their sentence doesn't always mean that they're cleared for work.
Domestic violence charges being one, and no contact order violations is some of the things we don't put out on work. Concerned about danger to the community. That's a lot of us.
Or their current behavior does not make them eligible also.
Well, you don't evaluate those when you evaluate. I'm just a question for you, Jason. Do we evaluate the sentence population as well?
Yeah, there are the sentence population, although small, is a priority for all of our programs. Yes, whether you call it breaking barriers, classes, we always target our sentence population first.
So a couple of clarifications. So the 10 people that are eligible are all at Geiger now. Okay, so the slide that was showing the cost savings from closing Geiger A, that's a decision that was made. If there was an ability to bring work back, we're really just talking about people that are already at Geiger having that taking the 2 officers that used to do it, putting it back on work rather than being supervising housing.
The challenge with housing is that we've always kept our work crew, and because they're out in the community every day, we've always kept them in a separate building.
Oh, a separate building.
So they're separate from, and it's really the only area, the other two floors in B building are 72, 74, and so we just don't mix those groups. It's always been our challenge. Years and years ago, 28 years ago, they had a pod housing model downtown, but it was a very short lived, so same thing. In those areas that we fill with other inmates, we need to keep separate now, so housing would be a challenge as well.
That's most of the county. Significant.
And you need the 2 officers and the sergeant to manage like 8 to 10 people.
If you're gonna maximize the use of 2 crews, so it's.
You have one going out to the valley, for instance, to do trash removal, and then you have so you can kind of put them in 2 different places, is what you're saying.
Right, there's always been a lot of demand for work crew. It's been a very successful program. It's been around for 34 years, so it's been very successful. It's integrated itself into a lot of what Spokane is, as far as when we've got Bloomsday and Hoop Fest coming up. And my life very heard about those also. So then we've always been a big component, one of the primary components for litter pickup in the entire county. So that's the other thing that so when we have these special events and these steady assignments, when we have gaps in our calendar, we always supplement month with litter, because litter just never ends. You're trying to look at this like the primary only component that goes out there and picks that up. And so but that's why we've developed a schedule of the special events, which are reflected on here, but always filled in the gaps with the never-ending litter supplies.
So I had brought up last year when we were talking about this, would some of these users, like City of the Valley, Hoop Fest, be willing to pay a higher rate per hour? Because it would still be potentially less expensive than, hiring and employing folks at a minimum wage.
We did an impromptu poll. Jason called around some of the stakeholders. We didn't sign contracts or anything, we just kind of, and some of the ones like Hoop Fest, some of the bigger stakeholders were willing to pay. But we looked at it, like a Hoop Fest was willing to pay significantly more. But Jason can speak to that, but not daily, not every day, not 365 days a year. So we could get like out of Hoop Fest or Bloomsday or PNQ, the Pacific Northwest qualifier. They were at least just based on phone conversations, based on they were able to go much higher.
And I think what Don's trying to articulate too is really what does the market bear? What are people willing to pay for this? So one of the things that we've seen over the years is that kind of we are limited. I could like preface of this. We're limited to working only for nonprofits, 401cs. So it's not like those organizations are usually flush with cash either. So it's not, we have to take that into consideration that most of these organizations, have budget constraints. Also, I think we can assume that they probably would. I don't really know what the ceiling is on that.
Right, well, I think we're starting to see it because of, how much more it's gonna cost.
Because they still have to pay for it. PNQ already happened, so we could ask them how much more it costs them to set up. Because I know that they have concerns about, to maintain that level of having to get more sponsors and more revenue from the volleyball.
Yeah, I think if we talk to Erin and Parish, she's now estimating, I think it was like an extra $300,000. That's.
It's significant. We're
Yeah, significantly different than what you guys were showing. So I think that's what is happening, is the reality of it is costing way more.
Sure.
Because, and again, they can't get the workers.
It's hard for them just for those short times.
Yeah, it does sometimes relate to the quality of the work they're getting to.
Yes.
They find out the work source or whatnot, but it doesn't work out for rates.
If Aaron is literally saying $300,000 extra, and we're looking at county departments charged at just under 40,000. Yeah, I mean. That delta there, that gap, we should be able to get a work crew out there for the fair at least, right?
And depends what you
I
would
mean,
like us to focus on.
I
too.
mean,
we
if,
just-
if Aaron's looking at paying $300,000 to some other aid, pay the county 100, and I'm sure we can stand up a work crew for the fair, right?
We have a meeting with them tomorrow to really articulate the scope. So when I briefly talked to Aaron last week, it's about how much of the pre-fair there's typically, like I said, we do 100 days a year for them, just in general for all the shows. This is their busy season.
Yeah.
So we're tied into their busy season, we're tied into their prep for the fair, obviously the 10 days of the fair, and then there's always the post-fair drawdown. That's what I was needing from them. That's why we're meeting tomorrow to figure out what does that look like to her, what are her needs, and then how does that translate into what our estimated costs would look like? Just for that snapshot.
We can bring that back after we meet with them tomorrow. We meet with her tomorrow.
Jason, so you can determine how many days you need for just the fair, right?
That's for tomorrow's meeting.
That's what tomorrow is. So if you were to plan all year long, and this is kind of my question that I posed to them, all year long, we plan to just take care of the fair, what would that look like? In terms of dollars and how long would it take? I guess is what I'm saying. So, I know that these other ones are big asks. We can ask Move Fest, we can ask those other ones, but we should be focusing at least on the fair as a county and what that would look like throughout the year. How do we plan forward for that part of it? So. And does that really, and another question would be, I would put out there for you, Don, does it really mean opening up a building or is there another way that we could accommodate it? Just questions. Okay?
Yeah, and we've,
Yeah, and does it need a sergeant that's been reallocated, or could it be supervised by a sergeant of a specialized position for the time?
Can I clarify, when you say fair, do you mean just the 10 days of the fair or the fairgrounds as a whole for
I'm
the whole
speaking of
year?
just the fair and the pre and the.
Okay, so the roughly
Yeah.
2 weeks there.
Well, probably more like 3 weeks. isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be a couple weeks. It really, to be honest, it really depends on what their state is now. They haven't had access to much labor this year so far,
Right.
so it depends on what their state is now.
Yeah.
How long it would take to get them back up to speed, and then work with that. So that's really part of what the conversations tomorrow were.
Yeah, be able to help Aaron and that.
I mean, that would be huge. I mean, if we take care, because that is an event that the community expects Spokane County to deliver on.
Sure.
And so.
Well, why don't we, I'm sorry, Commissioner.
On this M&O, isn't it the case that we're still paying that?
Not that M&O, that M&O we're not, that if you, the entire M&O that we moved out of that cost center last year was Bryce has the data.
If we go forward one
It's
slide.
200 and some, that is actual M&O related to work. Vehicles, fuel, small equipment.
So that third column there, that budget reallocated was primarily for the Geiger lease. The portion was allocated out for the Geiger lease, Geiger utilities that don't go away. So those got reallocated to custody based on square footage use of the buildings that we have. So that's what you're seeing there for the 141 in that third column.
Okay, I guess what I was just thinking about and seeing some of these numbers is there's a total budget savings of 433,000 listed there. We had about 130,000 in revenue a year, and it seems to me that if we could even if you just assume doubling the rate, if we could capture that somehow, which might be unrealistic, but just for the sake of brainstorming, that's you could capture more revenue if we looked at charging more, because we're hearing from a lot of these groups that we would be willing to pay more.
Wait, I think they weren't initially, but I think they will.
Maybe now they realize what they were getting, because this is an amazing body of work that was being done. I mean, this was a huge public service that did a lot of good work, not just for the inmates, but for all of these great events. So when you think about the delta between 433 and maybe in the 200,000 range is what we could get. But for revenue, if we did it in an updated fashion, and then you think about the unexpected costs that we're now incurring as a county from not having a work crew, it's kind of like the net positive is there. I'm just struggling with how this all adds up to be a good idea, even budgetarily. What we did, unfortunately, and that was just, it was nobody wanted to do it in the budget cycle last year, but
We had to figure out where we could make some cuts. So I'm gonna request that if you guys are gonna talk to Aaron, you're gonna check with Pink.
I can follow up with
Can
PQ.
we make this for that Monday that we're back? Cause I think this is a bigger
It is.
conversation. And we've gotta get people here.
Sure.
So it's not you guys, I just think there's a lot more questions to be asked and things, and so, you know, maybe
We'll bust them out.
thinking through some of that and finding out what Aaron's these are, and I said 300,000, I think that's what it was, but don't quote me on that, cause that was just from what I remember. You know, cause we have the junior livestock show coming up there.
Sure. We'll get more information
Get it
from
on how
Aaron
they're
tomorrow,
gonna do it.
and I'm sorry, Commissioner, did I hear Monday, this coming Monday, or I heard Monday we're back?
The 27th,
Monday 27th.
we're off to DC next week for the DSI flying.
And then one other thing, Jason, if you could set the trend line of how many available bodies are going through the period, that would be really helpful too. Because then we could understand how big a cruise and how many crews we could have on average.
Yeah, you're talking available inmates, Mike?
Yeah, how many available inmates, if you could track it, Jason, you know, on a trend, that would be nice.
And I know, I mean, this doesn't help, you know, Bloomsday or anybody else at this point, but we gotta at least look at it to what we can do.
This list I sent, or I gave you, it's pretty inclusive. This does give a good snapshot, brief descriptions as to part of the scope. And this is the, I think you brought it up too. This is, we've always been there and we've always been the backbone, but we're not really, never really publicized it. So I think that sometimes lends itself to people not understand the scope. Value.
We thinking, is it minimum wage higher, 16.66 now?
It is now.
I think it is.
That was the slide from last fall. So it went up in
Maybe it's like
in January.
17, 13
Yep,
or
went up in January.
Okay, yes, thank you. I
Thank you,
think,
guys.
I think this is gonna be a really good discussion. Let's continue, and then that way we can think about too, kind of. Additional questions, but if you have the time. Thank you.
You know, this is.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Do it.
Yes, we need to hurry.
how much they're planning to pay.
Yes, well, that's what I need to.
What keep you?
I just started PQ and did that fast. I don't necessarily.
Well, and I think Amber's onto it. If we can raise the prices a little, that's revenue back to help fund the operation here.
Go 1 year with higher rates and see what happens.
If we're still lower than market,
Yeah,
I think they're gonna go with work for it.
we do a better job than a lot of those. market groups anyway.
We're
Going as fast as we can, Jim.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna try to get you guys through this as quickly as possible.
You go.
Exceptionally brave.
Here's just an updated spreadsheet for you guys on the, yeah,
This is what happens when we.
for where we are at with opioid funds. We have a new settlement. I briefed you on it just very briefly a few weeks ago when Justin was in here. This is the new 6 remnant defendants, which are some regional distributors and dispensers. This is only gonna net about 120,000 to us. This particular settlement did not include the state, so we do have 5 entities in our region which will not actually get any money out of this particular settlement. So Ponderay, Ferry County, Adams County, City of Liberty Lake, and City of Cheney will not actually have any funds coming out of this, but
Ourselves, City of Spokane Valley, Lincoln County and Stevens County. Of our region will get money. So we have this on the 2 p.m. consent for this afternoon. To go ahead and enter this particular settlement. Any questions?
Settlement, it's just getting we want to receive money, so. I think that's the
The answer is yes, we do.
Shoot, yes. It's so much here. And then further questions in the future.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess just my quick one is I'm looking at the graph here, we've got. So where it's remaining balance with annual expenditures, I mean, it does show us going into the red, but.
Correct, but we know that.
Assume we'd stop spending before we head into the red?
Correct, this still includes doing the money to the health district, which we haven't officially taken out because there was not a quorum for that decision yet.
That's why.
So Justin and I will be back to have that conversation when there's quorum.
Okay. See, it's not until 2039 that we would even get there, but, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And the sheriff would like to do. Okay. Sorry.
No, it's weird.
It's very good. So. I don't think we have time for this videos. Are you looking to miscellaneous this afternoon?
Well, actually, you don't have any proclamations.
Okay.
And I just want to give the board a heads up that media will be at the 2 o'clock.
Okay.
So,
Other. Okay.
not the last two.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you for the heads up. I guess I will ask to be under miscellaneous. There we go.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 3 executive session matters today, totaling 35 minutes. The first one is pending potential litigation, and there's no action anticipated. Matt Folsom, Devin Kurta, Chris Anderson, Kara Knowles, Kevin Ritchie, because
Anyone online?
no one online.
Right, please.
Don't believe so. Second one is also pending and potential litigation, no actions anticipated, 15 minutes. Matt Folsom, Devin Kurta, Ashley Cloud, Julie Corsigan, Chris Anderson. The final is pending potential litigation, 10 minutes, Matt Folsom, Devin Kurta, Wes Zigao. 35 minutes total, no action, all pending and potential litigation.
Very good. So we're gonna go in executive session for approximately 35 minutes for the 3 items just discussed with the people that were just discussed in each one of them. At the end of that, we will adjourn for the morning and see everybody back